23 CP 218069, 91 days without indictment, theft by taking, felony driving, fleeing, attempting to elude driving, hit and run, reckless driving, driving improper erratic lane change, driving on wrong side of the road. Go ahead. What says the state?
Yes,
the officer's been sworn.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
Can you tell the court where you're employed at currently?
City of Atlanta Police Department.
And how long have you been there?
3.5 years.
Were you employed there on April 27, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you post certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with the circumstance, the case that brings you here to court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us what happened on April 27, 2023, when you came in contact with a Desmond Mosley?
On the day of April 27, 2023, myself and my partner, we conducted a traffic stop on the blue Kia for a traffic violation. Upon notice of that traffic violation, myself and my partner made contact with the owner of the vehicle. The owner of that vehicle then fled our traffic stop. While canvassing for that vehicle, we noticed that the owner of that vehicle leaving out of a package store parking lot at the intersection of New Jersey Ave, New Jersey Road, and Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. That driver noticed us. He then exited the vehicle and fled on foot. I gave chase to that particular driver. As I was chasing that male, Mr. Mosley exited a 4-apartment building, looked at the person that was fleeing, which is the owner of the vehicle, looked at me, and then looked towards the parked vehicle in the middle of the street. As I was detaining that driver, Mr. Mosley, as I was detaining that driver, I heard the door to the vehicle close on the street, and the vehicle then sped off. As I got the owner in the vehicle into my vehicle, I asked him if he had any tracking on the car. He told me to call his wife because his wife had all the information for tracking. I informed his wife. His wife then began to give me updates on tracking, which at that point I was able to advise other officers to be in the area where the car was pinging to. As the officer seen the vehicle at Greenbrier Parkway in 166, he attempted to pull the vehicle over. The vehicle then sped away from the officer, hitting a few vehicles, and then fleeing from that stop. As the officer gave chase to the Kia then made an abrupt turn to go left and end up making contact with the officer's vehicle, disabling the patrol vehicle, and then the vehicle began to continue onto Greenbrier Parkway, where the vehicle crashed out into a pole and caught fire. The driver of the vehicle then fled and was caught a short time later. The driver was identified as Mr. Desmond Mosley, where he was taken. Afterwards, he was taken to Grady Hospital to be treated there on scene.
No, sir.
Did you make contact with Desmond Mosley yourself?
At the hospital, yes.
So are you able to identify him?
You stand
yes,
up if you need to.
Yes.
You can stand up if you need to.
All right, can you stand? Oh, you are standing up. Can you tell the court where he's sitting in relation to you?
Hold on. You need to use your inside voice and whisper. I can hear everything you're saying, and you don't want me to hear everything you're saying. If I can hear it, she can hear it. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. Can you describe what he's wearing, his facial features, and where he's sitting?
He's sitting the table to the left, has a blue shirt on, gray undershirt, and mini fro.
To your left?
To my left. Yes.
Okay. You're not like the record to reflect that identity has been established.
All right, noted.
Which city did this incident take place in?
Can you repeat?
Which city did this incident take place in?
City of Atlanta.
Which county is that?
Fulton.
You're not like the record to reflect that venue has been established.
Noted.
So to go back to kind of break down the charges, you took out a warrant against Mr. Mosley for theft by taking. And what was the probable cause for that?
Getting to the Kia K5 that did not belong to him and fleeing the scene.
All right, did he have permission to be inside of the
No,
Kia?
ma'am.
All right, you took out a warrant also for driving hit and run, duty of driver to stop or return to the scene of accident. Why did you take out a warrant for that against Mr. Mosley?
For hitting and fleeing the scene of one vehicle that he hit to flee from the officer that was behind him on Greenbrier Parkway.
How many vehicles did he hit during this chase?
Total 3.
Did any of the vehicles belong to an officer, a patrolman?
One of them did, yes, ma'am.
All right. You also took out a warrant for driving, fleeing, attempting to elude a police officer. Can you just briefly tell us what's the probable cause for that?
The officer got behind the vehicle at Greenbrier Parkway, initiated his lights and sirens. The vehicle then fled. The officer gave chase to deploy a tracker on the vehicle so they can track where the vehicle would go. And that's the basis of that charge.
And who was the driver during that?
Of the police vehicle?
During the fleeing?
Mr. Mosley.
Was he the driver the entire time during this incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Was anyone else inside the car with him during this incident?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you also you took out a warrant for reckless driving, a misdemeanor. Can you give us the basis for that warrant?
Driving at a high rate of speed. I do not remember the actual speed, but driving above the speed limit, posted speed limit in the area, which is about 35 miles an hour. Also changing lanes erratically.
Okay, and did he do anything else that you was deemed as reckless driving?
Nothing other than that.
Okay. Did he hit patrol? Did he hit cars, strike cars?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you also took out a warrant for driving improperly, erratic lane change, and I believe you just went over that, but could you elaborate on what the probable cause was for that charge as well?
The first basis for that charge was the initial flee from the officer on Greenbrier Parkway. He exited a lane and then began to drive at a high rate of speed, as well as not maintaining his lane. And then the erratic lane change right before the accident, where he appeared to go to maintain his travel on Greenbrier Parkway. Then suddenly he tried to make a left turn or straight towards Continental Colony Parkway. And that's when he collided with the patrol vehicle. And then he maintained his way towards Greenbrier Parkway.
At any point, did he drive on the wrong side of the road?
Yes, ma'am. After the accident happened with the officer.
All right. Course indulgence.
Sure.
Why did you go to Grady Hospital who did you go visit in Grady Hospital pertaining to this incident?
Mr. Mosley, he was laying on the hospital bed in the Grady detention area.
And where did you learn, or what did you learn about his injury as far as like the cause of his injuries? Where did they come from?
When I was there, there wasn't a doctor. It was a nurse there, but there wasn't a doctor. But the injuries that I've learned were based off the accident.
Okay.
I'm unsure if any officers used force. I'll have to read through my report to just maybe use any recollection, but I'm not unsure off the top of my head if any officers used any type of force against Mr. Mosley.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Cross.
Were you the officer viewing the tracking information on the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Did at any moment did the vehicle stop in the tracking?
No.
And you observed the vehicle as it was driving, correct?
There wasn't like a GPS tracker. I was on the phone with the owner as she was en route to the scene, and she was giving me updates every 10 to 20 seconds of where the vehicle was.
How were you able to ascertain the speed of the vehicle?
The dash camera footage of the officer that was behind him. They were driving at a high rate of speed, and it has the posted speed on the vehicle.
And you said there was a collision between the vehicle and a police car.
Yes, sir.
All right. Who was driving the police car?
Officer Adams,
Okay.
Atlanta police officer.
Do you know how the collision occurred?
Yes, sir.
Could you describe the collision?
I stated earlier that both vehicles were traveling, you say south on Greenbrier Parkway. Greenbrier Parkway goes straight south, and then it curves to the right, and the park, there's a road that goes straight that turns into Continental Colony. The vehicle that Mr. Mosley was driving was in the right turning lane to go towards Greenbrier Parkway. Officer Adams was in the lane next to the turning lane. The Kia that Mr. Mosley was driving then made an overt movement to go straight onto Continental Colony, where both vehicles collided at the intersection of Greenbrier Parkway and Continental Colony.
Are the police officers trained in disabling maneuvers with vehicles?
Yes, sir. Myself and Officer Adams are trained in that, but we didn't attempt to do any pit maneuvers at all.
All right. Does the police cruiser have video of the incident?
Yes, sir.
Is that video available for discovery?
Yes, sir.
All right. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything else on direct?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else for this officer?
No, sir. No, ma'am.
All right, stay safe out there.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead with argument.
I'm not sure who, I can't remember if you.
I mean, you can go first. You can wait, we can go, I don't care, 6-1.
Okay, Your Honor, based off the officer's testimony, the state field has met its burden for death by taking. The officer testified that the defendant, Mr. Mosley, did not have permission to get inside the car and drive off, that he didn't have permission from the owners of the car to drive off in the car. Also with the misdemeanor traffic conditions, we heard plenty testimony about how the defendant fled off at a high rate of speed, crashing into not one, not two, but 3 cars. One of those cars being that of a patrol car. A patrolman was also inside of that car when that crash took place. We heard that the defendant ended up crashing the car itself, and the car basically flames were set fire to the car because of the crash. We heard testimony that he was driving on the wrong side of the road, that he was driving recklessly. So we feel that we have met the proper cause burden for all of the traffic citation as well as the death by taking. And what's particularly interesting about this case is that while officer was detaining another person, that this defendant took that opportunity to take this car, the other person's car. And then he did so, causing putting the whole community at danger. So I would just end on that the state feels that it has met its burden for all the charges listed.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Showalter. All right, I'll find probable cause on everything. I got 35-5 as a previous bond as 4/29/23. So I'll go ahead and address bond on everything.
Judge, in regards to Mr. Mosley, 7 prior arrests. He currently is on probation, hijacking, armed robbery, firearm, during pistol under the age, sentence 11/4/19. 4 years confinement, 6 years probation, 17 SC 154676. A prior simple battery, family violence in 2018, and a prior battery, family violence in 2018 out of Clayton. 2 arrests for probation violation, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Showalter. Mr. Mosley, please, he's trying to argue you for bond. Go ahead. Okay,
I would like to make that
go ahead.
It's currently at $35,000, and if we can get to a lower bond, Your Honor, it would help Mr. Mosley to continue to live his life, get out of jail, and make something of himself.
Right, you need to go to the podium. They can't. He can't. The court reporter can't hear you. That microphone's not working. Sorry.
Your Honor, we would like to try and make a lower bond for a chance for the opportunity for Mr. Mosley to leave incarceration. It'd be one less guy in the jail. It'd be a chance for him to go and live a normal life and make something of himself. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Is he still gonna live in Covington? Where you gonna live?
PAD program, PAD gave the probation some type of information to reinstate me.
So you don't have an address yet, is what I'm hearing, right?
So I can release the PAD program.
All right. There you go. All right, let's see. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with, no driving unless this bond is modified. Stay away from, you have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you're going to be working. 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 3,000, 100, and 100. 5, 5, 5, 3, 100, and 100. Best of luck to you, sir.